Hi guys, Mr. Helmsing, probably like you've never seen me before. Just got done with some basketball practice, so I thought that I would use my time wisely and try to knock out this lesson. Now, as you guys know, we're talking about two different things in class that are really important that we're kind of struggling with, and that is direct objects and indirect objects. The thing you need to know is that these are both obviously objects. So I'm going to write that up here. And it would be a great idea if you're struggling with this to take these notes, because I'm going to try to give you some tricks and tips and hints and things to kind of knock this stuff out and make it a little easier. Now, the first thing I talked about was a direct object. And you have to bear with me. I'm kind of learning with this little pad thing. So I know it doesn't look the greatest, but hopefully you can make this out. It's a little bit legible to you. Direct object is basically what receives an action. And it's usually a noun, but it's whatever receives the verb in the sentence. Okay? So again, this is a stepped process. You've got to do a series of things to find the direct object. And basically the first thing obviously is to find the subject. We've worked on doing that. And then find the verb, what is the action of that sentence. And then if you have a direct object, which on most of the sentences we've been working with you do, it is what exactly receives that verb. What is the verb acting upon? Okay, and that might be handy to write on there too. I think that's kind of what we're getting stuck with is, what is the thing that the verb acts upon? And you got to look at the verb to know that. There's no way you can just glance at a sentence and say, oh, there's a noun there, that's what it's got to be. You've got to actually understand what is the action in the sentence, and then whatever that action happens to, that is going to be the direct object. Okay? Be very, very, very careful for prepositional phrases. Obviously, you need to know your prepositions, and we need to really focus on that. So I'm going to write that out too. This is what's getting us a lot of times. Make sure that when you find a prepositional phrase, or a preposition phrase as I wrote it out, that you basically just cross it out. Put a line through it if you're working with it on a worksheet. I like to put my finger over it in a book and kind of blot it out. But if you see a prepositional phrase, the direct object is not going to be in there. So you got to take it out. Okay, and sometimes it makes your sentence very short, but it doesn't take anything away from the sentence. It still has the same meaning. Okay, it still has the same action. Okay, so be very careful with that when you're talking about direct objects. Last little tip I'm going to give you, this has to do with indirect objects. The only thing I can really say about this is indirect objects occur when you have a direct object, and it's basically like an extra step. It is basically who or what owns the direct object. Okay, so you guys have plenty of examples of these by now, but the indirect object is who or what owns your direct object. So you have to have a direct object to have one, and they're not in all sentences. Okay, again, just because you see a noun in there and you say, hey, I've got a direct object and there's a noun and it's like she or he or something like that, a pronoun, or it's a person's name, don't assume that that is going to be the indirect object. They have to own the direct object. They have to own what is receiving the action in order to be an indirect object. Okay? So I think those are the things we're missing. I just want to reinforce this just to kind of drive this home before we take another step up and look at these things in a kind of a different way. But direct objects have to do with action. Okay? And indirect objects, they have to do with action. So again, I'm going to kind of write that up here. But these type of complements have to do with action. Who does the action belong to? What is receiving the action? And then who is receiving or who owns the object that the action is acting upon? And if you kind of break it down into that and you understand it in this way, there shouldn't be a whole lot of confusion. Again, watch out for prepositional phrases. That's going to get us. They try to trip you up with those a lot in this book. It's why part of the reason I'm not a really big fan of it. But those are kind of the tips. Write it down, study this, look at some of the stuff we have. Page 128 in your book, it kind of goes over these. Do some extra research. We've been talking about this. Look online, find some sentences, find some sample worksheets, go through them. Once you're really comfortable in doing this, it's not going to be any problem at all to find other types of complements, but we have to get really good at doing this first. Okay? So Mr. Helmsing coming at you. I know you guys are going to be looking for the code for this one. Code for this one today is going to be basketball. Okay? Because that's just where I came from. So at any rate, I'm going to draw this little deal up here to represent my basketball. But again, don't make fun of my pictures too bad. I'll get used to doing this, I think. All right? So again, basketball, code word for today. See you guys in class tomorrow. Have a good one. Keep watching these videos. Keep extending your knowledge on your own. Okay, if you don't get something, you're the only one that can admit that. You're the only one that can fix that. Okay? Let me know how I can help. I'll see you guys later.